You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Well, Jane, today's show, we are going to talk about how to choose your list agent to sell your home. That can be one of the most important decisions that any homeowner can make, because choosing the right list agent means everything about selling your home quickly, for the right price, and successfully.
Well, that sounds like every time I go for a job interview, right, Ken?
Yep. Well, that's what any homeowner has to do. They have to really do their homework before they select an agent. And there's a whole bunch of things we want to discuss with, to give guidance for the homeowners out there so they can choose the proper list agent that's the best fit for their particular home. Number one, you want to do your research and gather recommendations. It's a good thing. Ask around. Ask for referrals. That's a very good source. People and friends, family members, maybe who have, had experiences with agents, and they can, recommend somebody. So that's a good starting point.
I have to say, Ken, I remember we just joined RE/MAX. Now it's 9 plus years now. So when we just joined RE/MAX that time, and our broker, Carson Filippo, asked me what the source of my business. So I told him here and there and there. So what he did was he already print out the whole year my production. So one by one asked me where that lead from, where that owner, how did they know you? So it was so funny, right? He was amazed. I remember everybody and every cases because like I counting on my children. So, but the matter is, at the end, I realized the amount of these homes homeowner I helped to sell or buyer helped to buy, 95% was from past client and referral. Now we've been with RE/MAX almost 10 years. Every year now, I don't have to wait for my broker to go through the process with me. I learn from him. So I always look at the year and where the business come from. I'm very happy and proud to say 90 to 95% is from past client and the referral sources.
Sure.
So that's really definitely that's working for us as a agent, and also shows the public, right? A lot of owners did their homework.
Right, and that's what they say. Reputation is not one thing. It's pretty much everything. If you don't have your reputation is worth its weight in gold, because that's
Ken, I agree with you, but I would go one step further. I think reputation is important. It's very important. I would say the character is the most important, because reputation is where reputation come from. Is from your character. It's from day to day what you do and what you don't do. So that's from the good foundation of your
reputation.
Character.
That's really the component of your character,
that's
your
right.
knowledge, your
reflection of your character.
It's everything summed up to one, and we're going to break down. That's what it ultimately comes down to. As far as the research goes, besides checking with your friends and colleagues, you can also check online now. Now everybody has there's such a big social media presence. There's you can check out reviews from Zillow and other social media sources, Google reviews, Zillow reviews, and get a general feel for the vibe you get for that agent. If they have a lot of reviews and what the people are saying about them, what their rating is. Not that that's the be all end all, because they may the dissatisfied people may not put a review in. They may only post the ones that are. But generally, with those media sources, they tend to publish. Anybody who puts a review gets published, so they tend to be. But
Ken, I have a point of view to share, right? One day, one of a friend of mine, agent, called me very upset, say, Jane, what should I do? People all go online and, really destroy my reputation and say bad things about me, give me bad review. What should I do? What can I do? And I said to them, you know what? You can reply to that review and say your point of view. Or, at the end of the day, you have to trust the public, right? When they read the review, they may have their own understanding of the situation, right? I mean, somebody could go on review, say terrible thing about you, and just because there was a multiple bidding situation, they didn't get a house. But on the other hand, the reader could understand. I mean, maybe you didn't, your offer wasn't strong enough, right? So that's all depends. But definitely go search online and read it. Try to understand the review. I mean, just nothing to do with the real estate. Just say one day I want to. Remember a long time ago, I tried to buy a worker for mom, right? And the review, somebody give 1 star and say that's terrible. But I think that's really suitable. It's light, it's compact, and have a lot of functions. So I asked one of my friends, Carolyn Bars, I said, hey, Carolyn, what do you think about this? They got a 1 star. It's a terrible review, but I think I read it. I really like the description. And Carolyn said, yeah, you read it. They said, well, you can't say it, but it depends how much weight the person is. So it really depends. Sometimes the review is not everything, but you should read the content of review and draw your own conclusion.
Right. You have to take it with a grain of salt. And a third aspect for doing your research is check for the area, the neighborhood, the town you live in. Check for the local listings that the agents you're considering have, what their presence is in the local market. That's meaningful, because you could have an agent that has fabulous reviews, like we're in the Central Jersey market, that might be working up in Bergen or Hudson County and doesn't have any experience or any knowledge or any working listings or in Middlesex County or Somerset County. So I think I think the territory that agent covers is experience, because the market varies from town to town, and it varies certainly by county and by region. So that's a very important thing. You don't want to hire somebody and also the presence, how close they live to the area. You want a local agent that lives and breathes and has a good, strong feel for the local market.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Ken. And every time if I do have a past client and the referrals call me to go outside area, and I always spend much, much more time on that case, prepare the meeting, because I have to go in depth diving in the past 3 to 6 months in that market. Understand sometimes I have to make appointment to see what homes available on the market to understand. And there's a much more involved. Yes, if you hire an agent, make sure that agent has a local knowledge, expertise in that area, definitely going to help to guide you with the pricing and the strategy, promote your home. And most importantly, that person will have a following to bring a lot of attention and buyers and buyer agents to the listing. So in that way, it's make the marketing strategy work more effectively.
Right. And also another thing to point out, if you're not a local agent, they may not even belong to the multiple list system,
yes,
which is the main data source for what comes on the market, what goes under contract, what gets canceled. So that's an important thing. And a local agent is everything, because they have their fingers on the pulse. They know what's happening. Real estate market is always changing. Things come on the market. Things go under contract on a day-to-day basis. So you need a local agent that has a presence there, that monitors the market and has experience in doing it. That leads kind of to the next thing. When looking for the appropriate agent to list your home, you want an agent that has the experience and the proven track record.
Yes. Sometimes I found when homeowner interview agent, right, and they ask how many homes you sold, and most agent would tell them how many homes they sold, but sold by the entire company or entire group, so not individual agents, right? If you work for a large real estate company, if they ask you how many you sold, you could say 100. But 100 by how many people? By one agent or by the whole office? That's the thing. So a lot of time you have to really ask them. Sometimes when I go for an interview, from time to time, I do have people say, "Can you show me what you sold last 12 months by yourself?" Okay. By yourself,
right.
6 months or 12. Yeah, I have
stole
to.
away my thunder, because I was going to say one question I was going to say you almost forgot to ask is, if you say if an agent, the question you have to ask them is how many homes they sold recently within the last year to at least 2 years, because you may have an agent that has 30 to 40 years of experience which is not to take anything away from him or her, but you want somebody who's recently. So they say, I've sold 100 homes, but they haven't sold any homes within the last year or so. You know that they don't have a pulse on the market. They're not really in tune with what's going on.
Yeah, a lot of time I agree with you. I have a lot of respect for a seasoned agent. I'm beneficiary of their experience and the training. But however, sometimes, people say I've been in business 30, 40 years, but 30, 40 years, the market has changed. The practice has changed. So main thing is what you can offer to your client today. Obviously yesterday is a good foundation. It means a lot, but most importantly, what you can help them today. So some, savvy sellers will ask us, Jane, tell me what you sold last 6 months and or last 12 months. So that's what give them understanding how many cases you've done, how much experience you have, and some even further ask you what's the most challenge you have, in last 12 months. Funny enough, once and twice I get that question. I said, none last 6 months. No, I can't think of any, right? Because
sellers market for the most.
Yeah, and also most importantly, you become a very seasonal experienced agent.
Right.
So a lot of time, just like cooking, right? If you don't know how to cook, you not cook well. And simple pasta dish is a challenge because you don't know what to do.
Right.
But if you seasoned chef or cook, that's easy.
And just like your client has to do their evaluation process, we've covered this show is not about the list agent helping to select the most buyer, but a seasoned good list agent will know the appropriate selection criteria to help the seller choose the best qualified, most likely to close buyer for that particular purchase. So
absolutely.
That gets into another. That's just like So they have to be a good evaluator of offers, just like the homeowner has to be a good evaluator of the list agent. So why don't we take a short break? We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. So we're talking about the qualifications to selecting a good listing agent for your home. So in talking about the experience, Jane, we covered, how the experience is relevant and important in the number of homes that particular agent has sold in recent times, the last 6 months to a year. Another thing you might want to check on with the list agent you're interviewing in terms of experience is their expertise in what type of real estate they've sold. So obviously, if you're talking residential, which this show is on, you don't want to hire somebody that's a list agent that sells, commercial and, or sells specialized, works with buyer agents and doing, helping them obtain short sales. You want a list agent that sold homes in your community and preferably in your local neighborhood within the last few months, and they have a proven track record of success. So you'd want to ask that list agent also what's your relevant turnaround time and your success story. I think those are all pertinent questions.
Absolutely. A lot of time, during the interview I had in the past, sometimes they ask you what's the percentage of the listing price you sold, right? I think that's become a little bit non-relevant in today's market because everything above and beyond asking. But in general, standard market, that's really a good indication. Before 2019, right, between the time I got licensed 2009 until 2019, and at that time, right, you have to think a lot of time. Some agent would tend to list the high and promise owner a little high number, and later on they have to reduce because owner say, oh, I interview 5 agents, that agent give me the most selling price. But at the end of the day, the selling price may not be the close price. So some savvy owner want to see that percentage, how much within percentage you close compare with to the listing and the closed price, and also the data on the market. So that's very important as well, because if you tend to sell relatively quick, 30 days, within 30 days, that's pretty accurate. You have to have accurate understanding of the market. If you list a home too high, so obviously it will take a longer time, and particularly may require multiple price reduction. So that's very deep down the questions when you interview your agent you should ask. I think the main thing is, right, when you a lot of people meet me, they ask what I think about the price, right? I think a lot of owners should ask how the agent derived that price. Personally, I feel some agent, right, today's agent, they went through a lot of agent training class. They're big on the presentation. They have very fancy PowerPoint presentation. They can print a beautiful market comparative analyze like a book.
Yeah, we're on to topic 3 now.
But I'm just saying, just like a very, very flashy and very good presentation. But first of all, it may not be prepared by the agent. So if you ask them what's in that, that's most important, right? I mean, you can ask them how they derived, and if they give you a booklet, you can point out a few things. Just ask them to explain, so you'll quickly understand is that they just use the very the computer system to derive it, or they truly deep down they understood.
I would take it even one step further, and that's all the more reason why you'd want a local experienced agent, because like you're saying, Jane, they could have if an agent from out of town could probably, if they have access to the database, the Central Jersey multiple list system or the Garden State, they could provide a CMA, comparative market analysis. However, if they're not the local agent, they may not have walked into those homes, whereas a local agent like yourself, you typically have seen those homes, so you can explain the intricacies of why that house was priced $10,000 more or $10,000 less. So that's the thing I think you're is getting at when you do the interview. You have to, if a good experienced agent will be familiar with all the homes. If they're like their children almost, they know
that's right.
This home and this home, and they know the particulars. So and that gives them a much better feel, because you can look at data and you can only go so far. But that's like, Zillow can look at data and they can try to give you an estimated cost, but they're never exactly right. They could be too high or too low.
They could be right, but if it is a very high turnover calculator, the community, but the customer no.
But certain things you can only derive by walking into the house, like the floor plan, the ceiling height, the updates it needs, the condition of maybe the roof, certain things that visually your
floor
eyes...
plan,
yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where... So when you interview the agent, I think the questions you have to ask is their experience, their marketing skills, also their communication style, how they're going to communicate with you, and how you feel comfortable with their their personality and their whole overall communication skills.
Ken, that's absolutely, because a lot of time there's many experienced, capable agent, but just like some people like Apple, some people like Orange, they're both great for you, but depends what flavor you like, right? And so you have to trust your gut's feeling and see if you meet somebody, meet an agent, how your initial impression and how you interact with the person during an hour or 2 hours meeting interview with them. So that's very important.
Right. So
that's the whole package.
Personality. So we covered obviously the personality, which is what you're getting at. If you can understand, if you can relate, if you see eye to eye with them.
Yes.
And then also their, obviously their ability to communicate and their confidence in the knowledge of the market are important. And then thirdly would be their marketing plan. What do they plan to do? Because they could be a great communicator, they could have great knowledge, but then selling your house, a lot of it depends on the marketing plan. And then you get into things like obviously the social media, the presentation of the home, having the professional photography, the virtual tour, and one of your most favorite items, the open house.
Open house. So well, if anyone listening out there would like to ask about marketing strategy, feel free to give me a call. My cell phone number 732-322-2908. Once again, 732-322-2908. Feel free to give me a call. Regardless, you're thinking about selling your home now, or you may just want to get a general information and sell them in the future. And that's definitely your questions are welcomed.
So, Jane, talking about the marketing plan, a lot of people may say, well, or a lot of what would you say to the agents that say, well, you know what? I'm going to put it on the social media. We can reach many more people. We don't want to do an open house. You don't want to have to burden with you. We're just going to attract the general public and people who are just looking and nosy. Let's just do the social media. Anybody that wants it will schedule a tour with their agent or with me, We know that old open house is old fashioned. Let's we don't.
You know
need
what?
It. So what do you? So you have a totally different experience,
different
experience. View, and a
yeah.
totally different. You have a lot of success in your view, in your line with open houses, right?
Absolutely. So, and first of all, just say when you have open houses, we do all that. What you said, the marketing, we do all that. But once you do that, what that create is more people want to see the house, right? And and if a lot of people, like you said, right, if they created such a big, their marketing strategy is such a big success, it will be result. Many people want to see the house. You want someone to individual showing 9 o'clock, 10:15, 11:30. 12:10, right. It's like a lot of showings. So better to have an open house in certain times, so you have a lot of people to come at the same time. So that's definitely alleviate the pressure on the owner. So especially the people who have young children or they have a pet, it's easier for their schedule. And secondly, in these days, right, a lot of people just want to come to open house. Some seller, some buyer agent, just tell them just see a new listing. I want to see it now, but unfortunately the buyer agent may not be available. Mm-hmm. So in that case, the buyer can feel free to come check it out. And thirdly, when the people come, you can see the competition, right? So obviously, they definitely going to create even more competition among the buyers if they have to wait for half an hour outside the door.
And it's a convenient tool for a lot of having. Typically the open houses are on weekends, and it creates a time. It makes them more convenient, so you attract a larger buyer pool because there may be people that live in New York, Staten Island, Brooklyn,
or Pennsylvania
that can't make it during the weekday because of work commitments. So for a lot of people, the weekend is the most convenient time where they can bring their entire family. So having a block of time set aside on a Saturday and a Sunday open to the public where they can come in anytime between, let's say, 1 and 4 p.m. makes it a lot more convenient for them. And then they can, if they have an agent, they can register, check their agent in, and they meet their agent there or be guided.
Most the agent will come back a second time with the
client,
interest.
But it gives them, so it affords an opportunity to get a bigger pool of interested buyers to see your house, and that's what it's about: is the exposure. The greater the exposure, the more likelihood you're going to find the buyer or buyers that really like the home and want to put a bid on it.
Absolutely. The more bid you have, obviously, the better options, the more options you have. And Ken, I think one thing I would like to take this remaining time to stress out is when you talk to the agent, right, make sure you understand the term. Recently, some seller was not happy with their agency. At the beginning, they hired an agent is because they're friends and they feel, as you said, referral, they think the friend and they know them for years, so no problem. They hired them. At that time, they did ask briefly to the owner/agent and say, hey, how long's the term? They think it was 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then the owner said, don't worry about it. If it doesn't sell, I will release you. But 3 months in it, and then it didn't sell, and then the seller is very unhappy about the service, the marketing, the whole 9 yards, right? Which is, right. I'm not here to say it's the agency fault because that's only according to the owner themselves, but the owner seeking to a new agent. So call me, and I said, well, would you mind just check your leasing agreement to see the date? And but verbally, sheepishly, but once again, I'm not saying the agency fault. It could be the owner. They thought it was 3 months. Actually, it was 6 months, which is standard. And when she approached the agent/agency for the release, which was promised, and she was told, no, they can't do that. So at the end, she called me for help. I said, unfortunately, I really can't help you because you're under it's a contract between you and your agency. So for the listeners out there, right, if you have agreement with your agent, like ourselves, we're always proud of the service we give to the clients, right? We always say, your satisfaction is guaranteed. How can I guarantee you're satisfied? Mm-hmm. Is if for any reason or no reason, if you decide to delist with us, just drop us a line, and within 24 hours, we'll give you unconditional release. So far, we haven't negative from that, but that's the confidence we have in yourself.
Right. But the point is, with this unfortunate story, is that the agency involved went strictly by the contract, and unfortunately, for this particular seller, they were locked into a 6-month agreement. So the important part of the story is you always must check, be sure you understand what you're signing for the listing price. Any listing agreement has to specify the start date, the end date, the price, and then the commission, which is negotiable in all cases.
Yeah, so, but if any agency or agent promise you, if any circumstances they can give you additional release, please make sure you get them in writing. I mean, you don't have to be formally in writing, at least in the email format or your text format, as something like this case you can go back by, say that's we have agreement there.
Yep, so. Everything should be in writing. Yep, well said, Jane. Okay, we are out of time. I want to thank you again. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.